Yes, sir.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to go ahead and call the meeting to order. This is a regular City Council meeting, City of Lamarck, Texas, Monday, November 12th, 2018 at 6 p.m. Let the record reflect all members of council are present with the exception of Mayor Pro Tem Bell, and without objection, we'll grant him an excused absence and wish him a happy birthday as well. If you'll please stand for the invocation and pledge. Lord, first of all, we give you thanks that we can gather here and do the business of this great city. God, I pray that each person under the sound of my voice and their extended family is blessed, and that you meet them at their point of need and bless them in the way they need it the most. Bless all of the residents of this city. Bring us to our appointed destinations without incident or accident. And we pray this in the name of Jesus Christ. All who believe and receive say amen. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We have no presentations or proclamations this evening. Number 5 is citizens' participation, limited to 3 minutes per person. Comments from the public. At this time, any person with city-related business who has signed up may speak to council, limited to 3 minutes. In compliance with Texas Open Meeting Act, the city may not deliberate on comments. Personal attacks will not be allowed, and personnel matters should be addressed to the city manager during normal business hours. In layman's terms, that means we can't talk back to you. First one is Mr. Eric Blackford. Yes, sir. Just give your name and address, please, sir.
Eric Blackford, 1413 West Houston Drive, Lamarck, Texas. I am a resident of Lamarck, and I also own 2 rental properties here in the city. I'm here today to talk about the rental registration program, the pamphlet that I received a few weeks ago. The concerns that I have, number 1 was the $120 fee that we'll have to pay per house each year. I understand, I believe in 2019 it's waived as long as we register in December, but going forward, $120 per house out of my pocket.
If I could just a point of order, sir, it's $100 for the first house and $20 for each additional.
Oh, okay. I might have misunderstood that. I'm
we
sorry.
have a new brochure as well.
Oh, okay.
Go right ahead. Go right ahead.
Well, that's good to hear. That's good to hear. Another issue that I had was, these inspections, they want to look at the inside of the house as well. I imagine that's going to be during normal business hours, which means we have to take off of work. Also, some of the items in here in my homes were built in the 50s, along with a lot of older homes in Lamarck. What's going to be grandfathered in, what's going to have to be brought up to code. Some of it was kind of subjective. It's talking about cleanliness in here. Also, carpet conditions, things like that are kind of subjective, not really code items. So that was kind of my issues with that. So there's clarification. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Geraldine Sam.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I have 3 things that I want to ask you about. Is first of all, the sign at 1765 in Lake Road. Are we responsible for that sign, or is TxDOT responsible for the sign that says Lake Road and 1765? You can't even see them. They're non-existent. They're just up there. There's nothing there to let people know that there's a Lake Road, and the one on 1765, it's just gone. So I was wondering if we're responsible on our side, and then can we get with TxDOT to do the 1765 sign, if we do the Lake Road sign that's on our part of the city, so that people will know that this is Lake Road. It's no longer there. The second thing is that I want to ask that if we could, on the next agenda for next month, could we place Juneteenth on the agenda so that the city can play a more formal part in Juneteenth with our city. I know that we give a proclamation every year, and last year, a lady took it upon herself to spend out of her pocket to make sure that our city had a Juneteenth celebration, but I would really like for us to play a more formal part in having a Juneteenth celebration. Maybe we could get Casey and Chris and maybe whoever else that would like to help us. I know I would, and I know that Tracy would like to help out in planning and putting together a awesome Juneteenth for the city of Lamarck. And the third thing, I just want us to hire local. I'm partial, and I think that it's time that we hire local, so I'm partial towards Charlene being our next city manager. I don't care who else they think about, but I think that it's time that we keep local people in place that we know that's going to be here, that's not going to get the experience and then go somewhere else and use that experience down the road somewhere. But I'm just partial, and I just want you to know, Charlene, I think that you're doing an excellent job, and I would like to see her as the next city manager. Thank you.
I'll give you an amen on excellent job. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. The next agenda item is the consent agenda. Is there anything to be pulled from the consent agenda? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
So move.
I second.
Motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Item 7 is a public hearing. Madam Clerk, will you call the time, please?
6:07.
6:07, we'll close the regular meeting, enter into the public hearing, conduct public hearing to hear public input regarding adopting ordinance number 0-2018-0013, approving a rezone from R1 Single Family Residential to C1 General Commercial, being a tract or parcel of land containing 1.3684 acres of land, or 59,606 square feet, located in the Stephen F. Austin League, Abstract 2, Galveston County, Texas. Said 1.3684 acre tract being all of tracts 1 and 2 of record in the name of Lamarck Investment Group, Inc. in Galveston County, clerk file number 9103747, and being all of that tract of land of record in the name of Hazel Benton, of record in GCCF number 8723178, said 1.3684 acre tract being more particularly described as bearings based on said GCCF number 9103747. This is 3197 Main, and a lot on Daru and contiguous to 3197 Main. Is there anyone wishing to speak on this item?
Will you be able to answer that question?
Someone in here will.
Okay. I just have the question that I have, Mayor and Council, let me address you again. Is this part of the text dot eminent domain part that they're taking property, and or is this just going from?
No, ma'am.
Okay, then you've answered my question.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak? I'm going to go ahead to, while we're open in the public hearing, to item B. Conduct public hearing to hear public input regarding ordinance number 0-2018-0014, amending Appendix A, a schedule of fees and charges of the Code of Ordinances, City of Lamarck, Texas, by amending prescribed solid waste collection charges. Anyone wishing to speak?
I have another question.
Yes, ma'am.
Is this, Mayor and Council, are we increasing the amount that we're going to be paying?
This is a contractual issue that, with the waste company.
Right.
That's a 3% automatic in their contract each year. There was also going to be a increase or a charge for recycling, but your council has decided that they will pay the recycling fee, so recycling will remain free as advertised in the beginning.
Okay, but the 3% increase
Is in
will-
their contract, it's automatic.
But the citizens will have to pick up that cost?
No,
Of
ma'am,
the
not unless you
3%.
volunteer.
I'm not volunteering. I didn't win that lottery up in New Jersey and all them places, but, you know, I
No,
just
we're
want-
not, we're not at this time increasing fees
So you're not
for
passing
citizens.
that on to the citizens?
No, ma'am, not at
Okay,
this time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak? Seeing and hearing none, Madam Clerk, if you'll call the time.
6:10.
6:10, we'll close the public hearing, open up the regular meeting. Under item 8, old business, item A, discussion possible action regarding adopting ordinance number 0-2018-0013 as recommended by Planning and Zoning and as delineated in the public hearing. I'll entertain a motion.
So move. Second.
Motion is second, any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Item B, discussion possible action regarding ordinance number 0-2018-0014, amending Appendix A, Schedule of Fees and Charges of Code of Ordinances, City of Lamarck, Texas. I'll entertain a motion.
So move.
Second.
Motion second, any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Ms. Coos.
Yes, ma'am.
Can I get clarification from council regarding the 3% increase, if I understand you correctly earlier? Because the 3% increase, it is in the contract with waste management, but usually we tack that on to the rates. The recycling fees were not, because per council's instructions, we absorb that recycling fee, but not the 3%. Do you want us to absorb the 3% as well, the contractual increase?
Are you asking us to pass that 3% along to the citizens?
I'm just asking.
Have we done that in the past?
Yes, sir, with public waste. I
Uh,
need clarification.
I wasn't aware, no one has approached me. Have they approached any of you guys about passing that along to the citizens?
Well, I'm sure we discussed that at budget workshops. I'm just trying to remember. I remember the discussion about distinctly choosing to not pass on the new waste management recycling fee. I apologize, I can't recall the rest of what we decided
I'm
on
almost
that.
positive the council was going to take up the 3% this year. I'm almost positive that's what's
I
going to
thought we were going to pay for the recycling and absorb the 3%, was my recollection of the discussion and budget.
Yeah.
How much is it? Ballpark.
3% ballpark, if I remember correctly, I think it's about 50,000 approximately.
4,200 a month.
So I do remember the recycling fees, which we are absorbing, but the 3%, I recall the council said we'll absorb that as well.
Well, we're saying that now.
We are
We're
absorbing
not going to
3%.
pass that to the citizens this year. We'll reconsider that at next year's.
Okay, then,
That's what
I
they
just
said.
want clarification then.
Okay, thank you. Did we vote on that?
No, I think we got interrupted.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All in favor?
aye.
Any opposed? Item 9, new business. Discussion, possible action regarding ordinance number 0-2018-0018, accepting the City of Lamarck Engineering Design Criteria Manual prepared by Attico LLC Consulting Engineers. I'd like to bring this up for purposes of discussion. Will somebody make that motion for discussion?
I move.
And is there a second?
Second.
Yes, sir. Mr.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. As we've been working with the city manager on, and public service on developing some standards and policies for, from an engineering technical standpoint to assist with understanding putting together policies and procedures in place, whereas developers and builders, as they come in the city for development, they understand the regulations that's in place. Building codes are regulated internationally, nationally, whereas public works facilities are, although regulated by TCEQ, but not to the actual technical details, goes down to the city public works services. So we've put together in place these development guidelines that's related to the engineering side. So we've developed this in conjunction with the city manager, public services, and having some standards in place so that engineers, developers understand what they're up against when they're coming in the city for review. And it gives them some assurance of what they're looking at when they're looking at the city.
Yes, sir. I looked at it today. It looks great. I do know that there are a couple of questions on the council, so at this time, council, feel free.
Go ahead. All right, I'll go. Den, and no disrespect, Den, I've looked at it, I think it's a great deal. I have some confusion.
Yes, sir.
Page 92, and again on page 102. On 192, 1.4.1, it starts off, and I'm looking at this as a developer or somebody coming in. I've got to submit my copies and everything. My plans, 2 copies of the plans, what have you, digital and a PDF.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I get that. If there's any changes, it's got to be redone and submitted again. But I'm looking down at 1.4.4 and then .5 and .6. You know, where after all comments have been addressed, you submit the previous comments and a response letter, include 1 digital copy and a revised construction plans to the city for final approval. Now, and there it says city. The next section down, or the next one down, it says, after final approval has been granted, submit 1 original Mylar cover sheet for the signatures, along with another digital file and a PDF, you know, and I'm guessing that means to the city or
Yes,
permit
to the city.
department?
Yes, sir.
So it's like I'm doing that step twice.
Well,
And then the third one is submit, right after it, is submit 2 copies, 1 digital, 1 PDF format, you know, for engineering file and inspection. So it's like I'm submitting 3 different sets. Is there a, that's what it reads to me, you know,
Yes,
so
sir.
maybe we could wordsmith it and make it a little more simpler, because
we can certainly do that, sir.
you know,
Yes.
I'd like, if I were a developer, I want to submit it to the same person or same spot each time, you know, with the changes, whatever I got to, but if you want 3 different sets, then just say it, you know, that's fine, but that's kind
Understand.
of the way it's coming out to me.
Understand, we'll wordsmith it like you said.
And then variances, 1.6.2. If there's variances, it would be requested by the owner and submitted, and all variance items must be granted by the city administrator. And
So in this particular case, the city administrator would be the city manager.
Okay.
We can revise that to reflect. Variances is different from your development variances. These are more technical in nature. If they wanted, if they're requesting a different type of pipe or a different type of manhole lids or cover
Okay.
or frame, then we can make those administratively versus having to go through city council for every technical detail. So you know, I usually like to have someone, since I'm a consulting city engineer, I typically like to have someone at the city kind of sign off on these
Okay.
variances. So that's why we want to have the administrator in place to sign that. And that could be the city manager or someone from public services.
okay, and I got that. 102
Yes, sir.
is 2.11. It's floodplain management. It lists in here in 2.10.1, it states, the city code enforcement officer is the acting floodplain manager for the city of Lamarck. Has this always been this way?
It's that way in ordinance.
Yes, it's currently that way in the ordinance.
Okay, now, and then all floodplain development within the city limits shall be reviewed and approved by the city engineer. So my question is, to me, this doesn't seem organizationally functional, having a code enforcement officer, no disrespect to our code enforcement officer now, but having that person as a floodplain manager, when I'm thinking that if I've got a floodplain question or a drainage issue, I'm calling Public Works or Public Services. You know, and that's, to me, that's where, if there is a floodplain officer gonna be involved, that's where I'm feeling that should set. I mean, to me, it just, if I had to go and ask, you know, Ms. Van Staveren now, she's gonna have to go to Public Works to get the answer. So to me, I don't know why that's there.
I
I'd
think
like
the
to.
ordinance needs to be changed to address it to public. In the past, Public Services Director was acting as floodplain manager, although the ordinance says code compliance.
Why, when did this come about, or why?
Don't.
I would like to further discuss that, because I think that's something that functionally, it just doesn't seem to fit.
Well, we can bring an ordinance change if it's council's wish.
And then it also talks about, and there it goes, and that may be to your previous answer, amendments to the published flood insurance rate maps. And any revisions or requests or changes to the base elevation within the city limits shall be submitted to the city engineer for review. And I guess my point is, if somebody's asking to change floodplain elevations, those are major, major concerns of ours as council, and I'd like to see some oversight review. You know, more than that, if somebody's asking to change that, I don't feel very comfortable having that in the hands of one person or one administrator to sign off on that affects this whole community. And that could be with a new subdivision coming in and grant something that is gonna be a negative impact down the road. I'm not comfortable with that one.
So as far as revision to the base flood elevation, as you understand, the base flood is regulated by FEMA. Any modeling that takes place to prove up a hydraulic model, it has to be submitted to the city for review in coordination with the drainage district as well. They are the jurisdiction that oversees all the waterways that the city ties into. In both instances, whereas there's a joint review of the analysis, FEMA, when they look, as you know, FEMA, when they look at models, they look at a very high level. When you get into the nuts and bolts of things, the drainage district, they have a hydrologist on staff or as a consultant, and we will look at it the same way, but both parties have to be in agreement before.
Maybe we could wordsmith this to include that,
Yes.
so that it's understandable
Yes.
how that approval process is.
Absolutely. And as you know right now, any approvals that we provide, or the city provide, always come along with the approval from the drainage district as well.
Okay.
So we're very cognizant of that. So.
Other than that, it's a great job, but I'd like to see those changes before I'm approving.
Could I ask you to hold one second?
Yeah, absolutely.
Are you guys cold? Everybody's got their arms. You all right? Okay. Sorry. Go right ahead.
No. All right, well, first of all, I commend you for this, because this is an exhaustive piece of work. And this is, so much of this is not even anywhere near my wheelhouse of understanding. There was a lot of me consulting my computer, looking things up. But I do have some pretty big questions, and I'll stick to those big ones. So the first thing, the largest thing for me is that, so there's references in here to the 100-year flood plan, or floodplain. And my first question is that this the 100-year floodplain that recently got updated by NOAA in September, or is this the one
Not
before
yet,
that?
Not yet. So the way flood map work is it was adopted, I think and it's published in your firm panels. Those are that is effective right now. What NOAA has, National Oceanic.
Yeah.
something. Yes.
National Oceanic Atmospheric Administration.
They've
for all
just
this.
published the new rainfall data, which increased from approximately 13-inch over a 24-hour period to 18-inch plus minus. And that's a significant impact. That has not been rolled in to the new maps.
Okay.
That they will be publishing in the next, normally 5 to 10 years. It takes that long for them to incorporate all the data.
Okay.
And what that means is the base flood elevation is going to go up.
Right.
I mean, and at some point, the city's going to have to decide if they're going to adopt the new rainfall data. And that increases, that affects your design criteria and also affects the detention rate in which the developers have to come in. Whenever they come in and develop a subdivision, the detention pond is going to increase in size by 30 to 50%.
So if I'm understanding you right, just the mere fact that they've published this data as, okay, guys, it used to be this was our 100-year floodplain, but based on the catastrophic rain events in the last, based on our data from the last 10 years or so, we're updating it to this new 100-year floodplain. That doesn't just automatically roll over into what we're saying is our 100-year floodplain?
The 100-year floodplain is based on the effective map.
Okay.
Now, they will be publishing, once they run the models, because those are just historical data that they've adopted, that they published.
Okay.
Now is the implementation, the modeling of how
I
it
see.
affects
Okay.
the overall general area.
Well,
And-
I would say, one of the things that I think we owe a lot of, that feels very imminent to me is discussion around that. To be honest, I would like to see what it would look like if we were to adopt the 500-year plane as the standard in here. I mean, I feel like it's timely, and I just would love to see, and I don't really know what that means in terms of you applying it within this text.
Well, there's a couple things. So that would be in your floodplain damage prevention ordinance that you would have to adopt. But keep in mind, when you adopt the base flood elevation, like up to the 500-year, similar to what City of Houston's done, you're elevating the lot size. Now, there's going to be a substantial difference between the new lots, finished floor elevation, and the existing. So just keep that in mind, because there are fear that, because you're higher, the new homes are higher, that you're technically maybe flooding the folks that are currently existing. So that's something that Houston is dealing with now. But it does make sense for new homes. You want higher standards to avoid the flooding situations you've had in the past. Especially in this area where you have a lot of low-lying area. You have more of a coastal flooding issue than you do in other areas where you have more of a stream flooding.
Well.
So there's a balance, and at some point, council will have to look at the flood ordinance and make revisions as needed. But it does, when you look at what the 500-year is compared to the 100-year, I mean, currently the current ordinance is 1 foot above the 100-year base flood elevation. Going 2 foot above the base, the 500-year is a substantial difference. It's about a 3 or 4 foot difference in some areas. So your neighbor, you can be here, here, your neighbor could be way down here, so just keep that in mind.
If we wanted to at least see within, this document that we're looking at, the new data for the 100-year plan, what would that look like? I mean, would that mean us putting off approving this for 5 years? I mean, what is that?
That would actually be reflected in your subdivision, in your floodplain damage prevention ordinance. Right now, the city would have to adopt either the preliminary maps that
The older
FEMA
ones.
has provided, and then we can review based on that. It doesn't technically affect this
I see.
yet.
Okay.
Now, once you adopt the NOAA the NOAA rainfall data with 18
Then it
inch,
would reflect this.
then we have to update the values, is what we call it, in the hydraulic calculations. So,
Well, then
then,
I would say that, I mean, that feels to me at least a prudent decision to make. I mean, if NOAA has published this data and is saying this is the new 100-year floodplain, I feel, why would we ignore that? You know, or why, not ignore it, but why would we not act quickly on that? And so you're saying that that would require then action of the council separately to approve that NOAA
so that
document?
there's different ordinances passed. The floodplain damage prevention ordinance is so that you're in compliance with NFIP, but also at the same time, it dictate what your finished floor elevation on your homes. That's one item. This criteria is to regulate the size of the new storm sewer and detention pond that the new developments would have to put in.
Okay.
And also the city as well, because now this is the basis of which the city designed their storm sewer system facilities. So the cost is going to
Right.
go up substantially. My understanding of just reviewing the new NOAA data, what was originally the 100-year storm event with the new data is really the 25-year event. So there's substantial
Yeah.
difference.
So may I request that we table this and discuss it more in a workshop? Because I I haven't even broken the surface on my questions here, my friend, so.
It says time sensitive with you, sir.
A little bit, yes, sir. Well, I can work at, we can meet for workshop.
Workshop it and bring it back in December. I'll entertain a motion to table.
I second.
I'll
I
entertain-
would like to move that, yes.
And is there a
Make a
second?
motion. Forgive me.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Danny. It really looks great.
work,
Thank
by
you.
the way.
Yeah.
Mr. Attorney, can I back up to item B? And ask Ms. Koo, I'd like to ask Ms. Koo how many water accounts we have, waste and water accounts we have, and divide that into 50,000. I came up with about $6 to $8 per account. Have you looked at that?
I did look at that when we were going through the budget workshop, but I don't recall, it's been like several months ago, that's why the agenda item was done based on what we discussed, so that's why.
How many accounts do we have?
About 7,000.
Somebody grab their calculator and divide 7,000 into 50,000.
7.14.
Anybody in here willing to use that 50,000 somewhere else and pay the $7 a month? I'm not asking for an action item.
Well, this is a whole year, though. It's based on the budget year, the entire year. It's not a month.
Oh, so it's like,
Yes,
how much
Is that $7 per household per year?
per year?
it's the entire year, yes, sir.
Okay, we're gonna
Because
leave the-
Our budget is by year.
I'm not gonna reopen this vote, but I'd like this to come back in December, please. It's like 70 cents, 50,000 a year by 7,000 accounts. Pennies a month. We'll bring it back in December, Ms. Sam, you can look forward to that as well. Because that 50,000 could easily be used to redefine ditches and fix culverts and get our drainage right, and we want to be prudent.
This is the second reading. This was the second final reading.
And so what are you saying, sir?
Well, you said you wanted to bring it back next month?
Yes. Can I reopen this agenda item?
Sure.
Then I'd like to reopen item B, discussion discussion, possible action regarding ordinance number 0-2018-0014, amending Appendix A, Schedule of Fees and Charges of the Code of Ordinances, City of Lamarck, Texas, by amending prescribed solid waste collection charges. And do they need to withdraw their motion and second?
Yes.
Whoever made the motion, will you please withdraw?
I withdraw my motion.
And the second?
Withdraw.
Okay, then I would like to state for the record that this will, as we discussed in budget workshop, be passed along to the citizens. I wasn't playing with my phone. I'd already done that math, and it's like 7 cents, 70,
About 60.
60 cents a month, and I think that that money can be used for different purposes. So I would make that a part of a motion, and I'll entertain that motion at this time. It's not a public hearing, ma'am, I'm sorry.
No, it's not, okay, because I did have one more question, since you're gonna redo it.
I make the motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? You guys okay with that? That money could be better used somewhere else?
I just-
I'll reopen the public hearing for one question.
I do, I just have one question, Mayor, and, I don't mind, we can use the 50,000 somewhere else, but, will that extra 60 cents be added per month to everyone's water bill, or will it be a one-time $7 fee for the whole year? How will that go? Because you have people that are on fixed incomes every month, that I just need to make sure that, that we help them along also.
Yes, ma'am.
And 60 cents may not be a lot to you, but 60 cents may mean a lot to someone that have their budget already fixed out. So we're going to do it 60 cents per month added to the water bill, or is it going to be the whole $7? Are we going to take it back from October
I
up through?
get your question. Yes, ma'am. I think the water department lady got mad at me and left. So I will ask Ms. Koo, would you step to the microphone and speak to that?
Thank you for allowing me to address it.
Yes, ma'am.
That's just some questions that people are going to ask me, and I
Sure.
have to address.
Understand. Thank you, and I'll close the public hearing.
The
again.
answer is yes, it's gonna be per month, and it's not gonna be exact 60 cents. It's based on what type of service that you have. Some may be less than that, some may be more. It depends on whether you get a dumpster, you have a roll-off, or you're regular residential, because we have varieties of accounts. But average is about 60 cents.
Yeah, her question was, would that be billed monthly?
It's gonna be monthly,
Yes,
yes.
ma'am. Not all at once.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's what you call putting business before politics.
I don't have a
Thank you,
problem.
counsel.
I just want to address these.
Yes, ma'am. Item B, discussion, possible action regarding resolution number R-2018-0026 to accept the draft report and call a public hearing on the land use assumptions, capital improvements plan, and the imposition of impact fees. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Motion second. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Item C, discussion, possible action regarding approving the Texas Independence Trail Ride Association to utilize Highland Bayou McGaffey Park as an overnight stop in November 16, 17, 18, 2018, and February 15th and 16th, 2019, as part of the traditional ride of the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo, as forwarded by the Parks Board with a favorable recommendation. I'll entertain a motion in the form of a yeehaw.
Yeehaw.
Is there a second yeehaw?
Yeehaw.
Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? They rode down through our town last year. It was awesome. The kids loved it. Item D, discussion, possible action regarding adopting ordinance number 0-2018-0015, changing the zoning classification from, was that your item, sir? Yes. Give us a big yee-haw when you walk out the door then. Thank you, sir. Well, we look forward to seeing you again as well. Discussion, possible action regarding adopting ordinance number 0-2018-0015, changing the zoning classification from C1 commercial to R1 residential as recommended by the Planning and Zoning Commission of Lot 7A of McNeil's subdivision, replat of Lot 7 and 8, a subdivision in Galveston County, Texas, according to the map or plat thereof recorded under clerk's file number 2017060207 of the plat record of Galveston County known as Spruce Street, PID number 721063, amending the zoning map of the city of Lamarck, adopted the 12th day of December 2005 by ordinance 953. I'll entertain a motion.
So move.
I second.
Motion second. Any discussion? I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Any opposed?
I actually did have one, it's not a question, I'm definitely in favor and aye, but I wanted to just visit, it seems to me, maybe we should have a discussion on how something like that could happen, reading through the preparations, how someone could buy a piece of property presented to them by both the title company, or by the agent or the title company as a completely different zoned property. I mean, that's.
We've already voted, but we'll extend the discussion.
The county, Galveston County, only zones properties by the use. So if you have a commercial property and you're using it as a commercial property, they'll call it commercial. If you have a residential property and you're using it residential, they'll zone it residential. They don't care
What we
how
zone it
the
as.
zoning is issued by the city.
I see.
So you're going to see this and many others come forward as we're having a lot of buying and selling going on right now, so you're going to see it come before you many, many times.
Okay,
Okay?
thank you, it was a very clear explanation. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Thank you, Susie.
Ms. Koo, you want to text Tina and tell her, please don't be mad at me that we got that fixed? Thank you. Item E, discussion, possible action adopting ordinance number 0-2018-0016, changing the zoning classification from C1 commercial to R1 residential as recommended by the Planning and Zoning Commission, being lots 9 through 12 and the north 26 feet of lot 13 in block 5 and lots 12 and 13 and the north 20 feet in block 6 of McNeil subdivision, a subdivision in Galveston County, Texas, according to the map or plat as recorded in volume 275, page 379 and 380 of the deed records of Galveston County, Texas, known as 1101 Oak Street, PID number 98799, amending the City of Lamarck zoning map adopted on the 12th day of December 2005 by ordinance number 953. I'll entertain a motion.
So move.
A second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Item F, discussion possible action regarding approval of an updated brochure and registration forms for the rental registration program, and adopt ordinance number 0-2018-017, an ordinance waiving registration fees for the rental registration program until December 31, 2018. I'll entertain a motion.
So move.
I second.
Motion second. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Item G, discussion possible action regarding a proposed ordinance establishing procedures and criteria for appointing members to boards and commissions and provide direction to city attorney. I'll open this up. I'll entertain a motion for discussion.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Please.
All right, If I may, I had one change I was hoping to make. I love the way this looks. Thank you so much, Ellis, for drafting this. Under the section C1, when it's talking about the notice for nominations and appointments, after considering the draft and thinking about, how this would play out in real life, I thought it might make more sense if 90 days before a term is to expire, we're notified, and then we have 60 days to find someone to fill that slot. And if a council member fails to do so in that time, then that's when it's up for the rest of the council to make an appointment. And my reasoning for that is the 30-day turnaround might make it hard for maybe someone who hasn't attended a committee or board meeting before and would like to come and see in person what it's like, which is obviously what we want. I figured 60 days gives a little more space to allow for someone to make sure they can do that and then can actually, lay eyes on what they would be doing, what's expected of them, and then make that commitment to be an enthusiastic civil servant in that way. So that was my that's what I was proposing, was that change.
Anyone else?
Yes, page 281, under the committee members, item D, residency requirement. It states all newly appointed committee members must be a resident of the city of Lamarck at the time of the appointment. Current non-resident members may serve out their current term. Well, it says serve out their term. Previously, when we discussed this, we had talked about having the ability to reappoint for one more term those individuals that may not reside in the city but still had good standing and support for the city, and wondering why we didn't include that.
Well, from the standpoint that it's vague and a person, a stranger reading it, it's not clear what that means.
Can we make it not vague then? I mean, this immediately terminates, when their session ends.
Yeah, but how do you go about determining whether or not, I don't have it in front of me, so I can't read it.
Okay. Well,
Charlene's getting that one.
Current non-resident members may serve out their current term and may be appointed one additional term. We had discussed that before. I don't know why that would be vague or that couldn't be added.
Well, there's some other language that went with it, that's what I'm talking about. I don't have your proposed, I need to look at the minutes of your discussion.
Okay, and then down on number G says committee membership limits. The way this is written, a person can serve only on one committee at a time, but may also serve as an alternate member of another committee. I'd like this to be added that current committee members that are serving on multiple boards will be allowed to serve out their terms. And because the way this is written, it would immediately call into effect that they have to resign one of the boards. And they should be able to finish that term. Whichever one finishes first, they need to make that decision at that time, which one they're going to serve on. But the number D on the residency, we only have a couple of these people that fall into that category. And those people have lived here in Lamarck, have moved out, but they have dedicated their life to some of these boards that they've been on. To immediately cut them off of the service, which is their passion, I just think that's the wrong thing to do to people. And it would give them one more term to serve past what their current one is. But currently also the G, it needs to be modified so that people are not immediately removed from the board, and they can continue to serve on those boards.
Can it be, I see, so I do remember that was part of what we had discussed, Robert. Is the problem, Ellis, that it's, to put that kind of language in there in perpetuity is confusing from, 10 years down the road from now, if you can read current non-resident members may serve out their term and one additional, it's void after a few years from now? Is it something that we can make an agreement as a council, that those who are currently serving, who are non-residents, we make a decision that they're allowed to serve, but it's not in the ordinance?
Well, going back on the first paragraph under D, I thought it covered that it says current non-resident members may serve out their term.
Yes.
Okay.
But we had talked about adding where they could serve one more term beyond that.
A term plus one.
Finish their term plus an additional term. Should they be
Interested,
reappointed?
yeah, should they be interested in reappointed? Right.
Yeah.
But I could see why that would be kind of strange language to put into the ordinance, like I said, it's void after.
Ellis, do you need to take this back to the office?
I do.
And I think that these things we've talked about tonight should be sent via the city manager to Ellis, and then this recording be made available to Ellis.
Right.
And so, I'll entertain a motion to table.
So moved.
Motion.
Second.
No discussion on a table. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Item 10, agreements and contracts. A, discussion possible action regarding approval of agreement with Bell Harris Pahacek LLP for 2 years, fiscal years 2018 and 2019, with option to renew 1 additional year, to perform city's annual financial audits and single audits in the amount of $46,950. I'll entertain a motion.
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item B, discussion, possible action regarding approval of agreement between Herberto Eddie Benavides and the city of Lamarck for use and maintenance of the fields in Mahan Park as recommended by the Parks Board. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
I second.
Motion is second. Any discussion?
Yes.
You can
Go
go
ahead.
first.
Well, okay. I went to Mahan Park about 2 weeks before BioFest, and our grass cutting and everything, the fields look in pretty dire need. I see old lawnmowers abandoned out there, a riding lawnmower, a push lawnmower. It looked like a damn junkyard. I don't know how else to say this, but it was not just baseball and football fields, but, I'm not real comfortable that we're giving a contract, an exclusive use to somebody, and it's not a year-round thing with upkeep. And sorry, but they get we're giving them a contract with the rights for sign advertising on fences, and that's another thing, it needs to be spelled out when season's over. That stuff needs to be torn down. It doesn't need to be, just flapping in the breeze and looking like trash. But it's the maintenance, they're supposed to pay for the electricity, they're supposed to pay for water, for this, right, and then they're supposed to keep the grass up, and I got my doubts that this is happening and in the best interest of the city. I'm not real comfortable with agreeing to this contract tonight. I think we've got time, but I think we need to look at some things, because there's some things that we need to do at the other fields too, and maybe we can change this thing around. I'm not.
Well, has this gentleman procured insurance as of yet?
He
Is
has.
that what this is in front of you?
Should have
Oh,
it in
okay.
front of him.
Sorry, it wasn't the name, it confused me. Well, I mean, I haven't driven by Mahan Park in the last few weeks, so based on that reference, I mean, I agree, if you have the feeling that it's not being upkept, a private contract is, a pretty high privilege, and,
Correct.
maybe it can be reworked, maybe so are you suggesting that like a more detailed contract be drawn up with more clear obligations on behalf of the contractor and come back, Robert? Is that what you're suggesting?
Yeah,
Mhm.
kind
Yeah.
of along that way. I don't know where the teeth are in it, that says you gotta do this, and what happens if you don't? 'Cause right now, I'm seeing it's not happening.
Right, I mean, I think, it seems like there's a great service offered to the city through this contract on behalf of what he's offering for youth, but I do agree that it seems, where's the teeth?
But I'm not sure if this contract is a benefit to the city in any form or fashion, just due to the fact, number one, there's no number of kids that belong to the city of Lamarck identified that's actually participating on the team. And number two, it's not a mutually beneficial situation for the city of Lamarck. We're trying to create a brand, and we're trying to change the way we're doing things with like a new improved park system. And we're not getting any type of finances or for this amenity that we're offering. And you're actually having taxpayers, the money going into a general fund that has to be allocated to this park. And at the end of the day, they still don't have access to the park. So I think the current system that we're utilizing is a system that we really need to evaluate and possibly make some dramatic changes. And I would, so with this.
Will you withdraw the motion?
We could table it.
No. Will you withdraw whoever made the motion?
Did I make the motion?
Was it you, Robert?
I'll withdraw it.
I'll withdraw my motion.
withdraw my
I had a
Withdraw a
motion.
second.
Withdraw to discuss.
I'll entertain a motion, discussion possible action regarding approval or denial of agreement between Eddie Benavides and the city of Lamarck for use and maintenance of the fields in Mahan Park as recommended by the Parks Board.
I would not deny.
You make a motion to
Make a
deny.
motion
Is
to
there a
deny.
second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion?
Do we need to plan for a meeting where we discuss this kind of issue going forward, the use of the
We
parks?
do need to workshop the parks, yes, ma'am.
Okay.
We're dealing with this gentleman right now, and he needs an answer.
No further discussion.
I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? C, discussion, possible action regarding approval of agreement for grant administration services with Provision Specialized Resources LLC. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? D, discussion, possible action regarding authorizing the mayor to enter into a mutual aid law enforcement agreement, whereas participating municipalities / agencies, to include the Galveston County Sheriff's Office, may request law enforcement assistance from any entity that has signed the agreement. We do this every year. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Motion is second. Any, I think Chris did. Did you second?
Yes.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Item E, discussion, possible action regarding authorizing the city manager to execute an interlocal agreement with the city of League City for membership in a consortium of law enforcement agencies for the purpose of criminal justice data sharing using computer-aided dispatch and records management systems. I'll entertain a motion.
So move.
I second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Any opposed? 11, award of bids. Discussion, possible action regarding award of RFP number 18-05 to A to Z Fence Company for for the installation of a perimeter security fence for the police station in the amount of $61,945. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Motion second, any discussion?
Yes, one. A thank you. A thank you to our EDC for helping participate in this, because that makes for a much nicer fence than the chain link and gives the police what they need and fits with the new economic development. So
Fits, yes.
thank you, EDC, and that means you, Mayor.
You're welcome. Any further discussion? I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Item B, discussion, possible action regarding award of bid LM number 09-19 to Beach Town Lawn Services for service for lawn care maintenance of city facilities and parks in the amount of $70,000. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Motion second, any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? C, discussion, possible action regarding award of bid LM number 06-19 to Sprint Waste Services LP for sludge removal in the amount of $124,500. I'll entertain a motion.
So move.
A second.
Motion second, any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Item D, discussion, possible action regarding award of bid LM number 04-19 to Vulcan Materials for limestone, not to exceed $39,144. I'll entertain a motion.
So move.
So moved.
Second.
That was awesome. Somebody moved and somebody seconded. Did you get it, Madam Clerk? Thank you. No further discussion. I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We have no executive session tonight. Brings us to request and announcements. We'll start in District D, request and announcements.
As we work on the new drafting of the ordinance for boards and commission appointments, I just wanted to take a moment and thank everybody who does currently serve, because you are a part of this city's leadership, and it is valuable and it is significant, and I hope you know that you are immensely appreciated. So, and yay, it's cold. Those are my announcements.
I have a couple. I'll keep it short, maybe. First off, I'd like to thank everybody for BioFest. This year, it seems to, it's not a matter of seeming. Every year, it gets bigger and gets better. This year, we had mud coming out all kinds of places and stuck vehicles and everything, but yet our city manager and our mayor stepped up and arranged for transportation, and we never missed a beat. I mean, it just went so like, hey, this was part of the plan. The entertainment was so great, and it just gets better and better. A recommendation for next year, and this comes and goes to the integrity of one of our city employees. One of our librarians, Terry, as you know her, was out there on the Friday night helping me and Terry Pettijohn sell raffle tickets for guitar for the Lions Club. That young lady had worked all day, and she was out there, and we were out there till 9 o'clock, where we were just dog tired. But she came up with a deal, and I thought, well, we'll see you tomorrow. So, oh, I'm sorry, Councilman, but I've got to work. Our library is one of the non-essential personnel functions that's still open on the day of BioFest. Okay? And I would propose that in future, non-essential personnel or non-essential departments be allowed that day off in order to attend that function. And what I say goes to her integrity is that the very next day, she worked her tour at the library and then was out there till closing, working the Lions booth in that mud, the whole time. But yet, that Friday night, I asked her, I said, well, how about I call Charlene and see if she can't let you off, and see if something could be done. But her integrity was that, no, sir, please don't do that, because there's parents and children, as limited as it will be there counting on us tomorrow. So personally, she'd like to be there, but her responsibility to our taxpayers, our residents and everything as an employee speaks mountains to her character. And I'd like to thank her for that. And that was something that I have seen an awful lot of in our city employees, and this is just one way of recognizing. The other is, Mayor, this thing gets better, but it's not just from the chamber. A lot has to rest on your shoulders, and I really thank you for that. It was a great time. My last is Thanksgiving is coming up. Everybody remember your families, and God be with you. So.
Thank you. That wasn't bad.
Not bad at all.
That was about an hour and a half. Councilman Lane.
Do we have any veterans in the audience? If so, maybe stand up.
Oh.
Give- Just want to thank you guys for serving, and that's it.
Thank you. I also want to thank everyone involved in BioFest, all the staff, Alex Getty, who knew nothing about promoting concerts when I first met him, and now he's become quite the promoter with the cowboy boots up on the desk and the unlit cigar in his mouth. Just kidding. But he's done a wonderful job. Colleen Merritt, our public relations specialist, did a great job on BioFest. The parking switch at about 1 p.m. to the racetrack and the shuttles worked perfectly. I just can't say enough to thank everybody that participated in that. The Parks Board, Mike McGaffey, everyone just did a great job. PD, Fire, EMS, guys are awesome. I want to wish everybody a happy and blessed Thanksgiving and let you know that the city of Lamarck is helping to provide a great Thanksgiving for 3 families. And I've donated to that. I encourage anyone else, especially corporate people, to donate to it. Mitch Titch, you got a lot of money. Why don't you donate to that as well, since let you talk. I think it's important that we find someone or keep a lookout for someone that may not be as blessed as us. And you can go buy a turkey for $20 and bless a family. So keep a lookout for your neighbors, and let's make this a happy Thanksgiving for everyone. And with that,
Mayor, I'm so sorry. I forgot.
Go ahead.
I forgot last time to mention fall sweep. I just wanted to thank everyone who was involved with the fall sweep. Colleen, you did such a great job, and were so patient and helpful, and everyone with Keep Lamarck Beautiful Commission, and a lot of volunteers who came out. And I enjoyed my time for 6 hours in very muddy ditches with a middle schooler from Texas City who came out, completely on his own accord, showed up, got dropped off, and stayed all day, and it was really heartening. So just thanks to everybody who came out. And
thank the Keep Lamarck Beautiful Commission as well.
yeah, absolutely.
Let's talk some more. How about we entertain a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.